Hello, Brian Comerford from Classroom Guidance with episode 36, making the boring stuff interesting. In today's video, we investigate the construction sector's occupational data from the National Skills Bulletin. The construction sector comprises of construction operatives, carpenters and joiners, civil engineers, architects, bricklayers and plasterers, plumbers, painters and decorators, and other construction trades such as curtain wallers, steel fixers and glazers. So by the end of this video, you will know all the things that affect their growth and what that means for you if you're thinking about a job in any of these areas. Remember, subscribe to stay up to date. The overall picture for this sector is really healthy, even taking into account the wobble in employment due to COVID. Around 131,000 people are employed in this sector, which equates to 5.7% of the Irish workforce. A whopping 97% of these workers are male, as girls may not think they have a role here, but they're wrong to overlook this sector. 71% are under 54 years old. 92% are in full employment, 85% of workers are Irish nationals, 26% of workers have a third level qualification, while a further 50% have further education or apprenticeship qualifications, which is well above the national average of 35%. Employment in construction occupations only grew by 0.8% in the last 5 years. However, this was mainly due to COVID restrictions. The jobs with the biggest growth were those of bricklayers and plasterers. Demand for construction roles is still growing and they continue to appear on the difficult to fill list. So let's have a look in a little more detail. There is a shortage of civil engineers and construction managers. Put simply, civil engineers have to come up with the solutions to complex problems and implement them. They literally shape the world we live in. There are many different specialisms within civil engineering, including environmental, structural, municipal transport and geotechnical. There are two types of civil engineering roles within these specialisms: consultants who focus on design work and spend more time in the office or working with clients, and contractors or construction project managers who are usually based on site and are more involved with keeping an eye on the physical construction. So what does that mean for you? The lifting of lockdown restrictions created a demand for these roles, which is likely to continue in the short term. So if construction activity returns to pre-COVID levels, as predicted, skills shortages for civil engineers and construction project managers are likely to arise. So there should be plenty of work to go around. There is a shortage of quantity surveyors. These are people responsible for calculating and managing the costs relating to projects, from helping create initial estimates to finalizing complete budget requirements. No two projects are ever the same, and there's a great deal of variety, which can be quite interesting for someone who doesn't like routine. So what does that mean? There should be plenty of work to go around once you gain the right level of experience. There is a shortage of bricklayers and plasterers. Bricklayers install masonry units to specifications in brick and natural stone. Eventually, you may be required to run a small crew to complete jobs and conduct safety meetings and fill out some forms. A plasterer cleans and prepares surfaces with scratcher or wire mesh before mixing plaster and stucco to desired consistency and applies several coats. They may also use molds. Some plasterers make decorative and ornamental designs, which may require special skills and creativity. So what does that mean? On one hand, demand for these occupations will be reduced due to the introduction of new technologies and off-site construction methods. However, this will be offset by the increase in demand due to the growth in cosmetic and repair work associated with retrofit activities. There is plenty of room for apprenticeships and jobs in this area in the future. There is a shortage of carpenters. Carpenters typically work on large construction projects. They use drawings to decide what's needed for the job, then cut materials according to the specifications before assembling them. Cabinet makers are primarily involved in making cabinets, often for kitchens, shelving, furniture, and fitting out rooms or shops. What does that mean? The demand for carpenters is expected to return to pre-COVID growth. So again, there's plenty of room for apprenticeships and jobs in this area in the future. There is a shortage of curtain wallers, steel fixers, erectors, and fitters, glazers. Curtain wallers are part of a site-based installation team. Their main responsibility includes setting out and fixing of the main grid work in accordance to the approved drawings. This job can involve working at extreme heights and the use of specialist equipment to handle and install the products. Steel fixers follow engineering plans to install and tie together steel bars and mesh that is used to strengthen concrete on construction projects. They also work closely with engineers, steel erectors, and other construction workers. Steel erectors handle and work on different frames and steel beams to construct steel structures. They upload, stack, and lift prefabricated steel into place, interpret and follow drawings to weld beams and columns into place, working outside and often at extreme heights. Fitters and glazers examine drawings to determine job requirements, install pre-glazed wooden, metal or PVC framework, and cut, fit and set glass into windows, doors, shop fronts and other structural frames. A word on plumbers, painters and decorators, construction operatives and elementary. Plumbers will be required in relation to Ireland's targets for a low carbon economy and work linked to alternative renewable energy sources for both retrofit and new build activities. They will probably be required to upskill for these tasks. Painters and decorators are likely to be in demand due to cosmetic work resulting from retrofitting activities. New apprenticeship registration numbers remain small for this occupation, with only 24 in 2020, so there's room for you here. Construction operatives and elementary, although scaffolders, ground workers and pipe layers can be found on difficult to fill lists, it is difficult to determine the extent to which supply matches demand due to COVID, so watch this space on these jobs. So to sum up, government have targets to reduce carbon emissions through installing renewable energy heating sources and retrofitting. These targets and plans to address the housing shortage over the next decade are expected to increase demand for construction related skills and may lead to future skills and labour shortages. Upskilling and reskilling of those already employed will also be required. In the short term, the recovery in employment for these occupations will depend on a return to full construction and economic activity. But in the long term, this sector looks really healthy. So start looking into construction degrees, apprenticeships, FE courses and traineeships now. If you haven't already, subscribe to stay informed. Thank you.